Well, to wake up.
There was a go live button down here.
Oh, where the hell that come? Excellent.
I don't know.
As long as it's up, that's all I care about. Hello. Hi, how you doing? Good evening. Thanks for joining us again. This time I'll introduce who we are. That way it seems less talking heads. So we have Paul. I don't know last names. We have Tam. What? All right. How about now? Can you hear me now? All right. I'm going to that. So let's see. We have Paul, who's on the committee. We have John in back in the black hat. We have Pam in the pink top. We have Craig up here, and myself, and I'm Kevin. We spoke at you about 4 or 6 weeks ago. So we have two people missing. Kim is visiting family in Spain, and Angel is working or doing something. I don't know what definitely was going on with her. So they couldn't make it tonight. I do want to point out we've got kind of a short window tonight because we all want to skedaddle over to the city council at City Hall. We believe that we found out there's a lot of stuff going on we should be part of and be there and be listening and make our thoughts known. There's a very large business park that was someone's fantasy a while back. Now it's someone's reality, so we need to go chat about that. Anyway, we'll get to these things. If you are new to this meeting and have not seen the petition, there are petitions in the back, and we'll pass them around. Read the disclaimer about what it's all about. If you're good with it, go ahead and sign. If you're not good with it, then don't sign. Bottom line is we're not doing anything other than our civic right to express our concerns to the city council regarding activities that are taking that impact our southern border. And what that might mean to our way of life, our community, the traffic, security, and safety. Okay, I'm going to run through the slides. There's a handful that are new and a bunch that are old that we will use for reference if need be. And we'll take questions after we get through the slides. So if you could, well, if you're like me, we'll forget the question by the time you actually get around to questions. So, oh well. So here's some of the facts we knew before. We're just going to review them quickly. There's an 18-month window, but this has gotten pushed back twice now. We're going to do a planning session last month. It was going to be this coming month, and now it's got kicked to August. So the Springs can't get permission to get to the city council to get permission to start building until they get to the planning commission. And that's been delayed twice. So we're not really sure what's going on there because they were all ready to go, and now we're not. So whatever. At any rate, they're planning on digging dirt spring of next year. And 18 months later, 14 buildings, 21 units, 500 plus people and all their cars and happy dappies that are there. There is no planned stoplight that the city has asked for on County Road 30, which means when we get to a map, the people who are leaving the Springs, those new residents and all the folks that work, got to get to and from work and their families and whatnot, getting on to 30. If you've ever looked down the road here, it's a joyous thing. So it doesn't take too much thought to figure out what they'll do when they can't get onto that road. There are 294 market rate. These are not condos. These are not luxury. These are market rate. Now we did ask, we talked to the developer, been very forthcoming with information. We did ask about something else. And they were clear that there is no subsidy from any of the county or the state. So these are market rate apartments. If you can't afford the $1,500 entry fee for the studio, you're not renting. So whatever that tells us, but that's what it tells us. And they go from about $1,200 or $1,500 to about $2,800 for the 3 bedrooms. 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. There is no buffer plan between us and them. It's going to be snug. The age distribution. A lot of folks in that 20 to 34 range, almost half. You add on the 35 to 49, and now you're over, you got about 60% who are busy up and running and doing things all day long, right? You got some folks who are 50 plus, getting closer to our ages, but still not quite sluggish. And then you've got a bunch of newborns and kids and whatnot, right? There's Future Light commercial still planned for the east of the Springs, which we'll show you the map momentarily. It is set up for 2 business offices, 4 retail, and a daycare. We'll show you how that's going to be organized. Let's see, moving along. Now, things that we've done since we last met. This committee's been busy trying to gather what we can and stay abreast of the facts as they're happening so we can share them. You know how it goes. Someone thought they were going to build condos in 10-story buildings, okay, but whatever. Right? That's not happening. We've talked to 2 of the city council members, and to get to speak and present to the city council, you have to have at least 2 members who are willing to sanction you doing that. So check, we have that. So we can bring our concerns to the city council whenever they get around to having this conversation. Both of the people that we've talked to, we're lining up a third. We took one around to the endpoints where the roads going to get connected. They looked around, thought, wow, that's not great. We don't think so either. So there's a receptiveness to our concerns and a perception that we should think about what that might mean in terms of impacting Bellwether if they go through the planned openings to the roads. We're trying to get tied up with the mayor. He's busy running for office, and so he's busy. The other additional council person, we have them on the calendar. We'll meet with them here in July, and if they're sympathetic, then we have 3 of the 4 council members, and including the mayor, we have 3 of the 5 folks who'll be voting on what to do and how to impact what happens with the Springs, at least receptive to our conversation. We've talked a lot to the folks called Continental. They build these springs at someplace kind of thingies, and there's maybe a dozen around the metro. If you were here last time, there was a couple sitting here, and they went and looked at they looked at 7 of them. I've only gone to 1, got some footage and whatnot, but they bailed. They were at the end of Jack Pine Lane, right next to the dog park and the apartments. I don't know exactly what happened to the amount of down money they had, but they took off stage left. Wowzers, that sucks, man. So to get back to Continental, they are willing to install berms, which means our view of a berm is it should be 100 feet tall, 50 feet wide. Well, the dial it back a little bit. So they're going to put berms in, they're receptive, they were just going to put in plantings and say, yeah, we'd like a little bit more than that. Okay, well now we're at 4 feet, we're trying to get to 6 or 8 with some single trees around 8 to 12 feet high so that before we're all dead, they're growing up big enough so we don't have to actually have a barrier, right? They put in these little things. I won't be around to hear after that. The holding pond at the end of Elm Lane is potentially problematic for getting a berm at the end of that because they have that holding pond there. They might not be able to do it because of the grade, or they might decide they don't want to, but we're still pushing for a berm there as well. They did move, so the dog park that was against these people's homes is now left. They cut it in half. They cut it in half so they could reduce the size so they could accommodate the berm. So we thought that was accommodating. They are working to ensure that the lighting on the structures don't glare into Bellwether. If you're sitting at your house and you look out and you have these spotlights glaring at you, well, a pleasant experience. So they're working to try and deal with that. It was June 4th, like I said, for that planning session. That's been kicked back. It was going to be July 7th, and that's been kicked back. Now, I don't know, August. That's the latest thing we have. So we'll see how, yes.
Tell them that we just filed it on July 7th this morning.
Oh, yes. We just got notified. Yeah, that July 7th, scratch. We're moving that out. Maybe August. Okay, well, keep letting us know. Well, the fact that it's getting kicked back, given what we saw their plans, they were kind of ready to start digging, and now they're constant. Well, something's going on, but they're not sharing. So, as a side, we're not suggesting we're going to change the nature of Bellwether today. But, there were some comments about gated communities and good, bad, and different, yes, no, you can or can't. We did some digging, and it turns out in the city code, there is nothing that prevents you from having a gated community. And in fact, one of the council members lives in Corcoran in a gated community. So you're wrong. Well, then why? You know, that's a puzzling thing. So, you know, I want to be careful. So there are a couple things about gated communities. A, if it's a private road, which an HOA was at one point, easy peasy, no worries. If it's a public road, you have to have some extenuating circumstances to go back to a gated situation. And I don't know that we want to actually chase up that hill. That's a pretty steep grade to go chasing down. But I thought it was interesting that it's not I don't know about you folks, but when we asked, when we were buying, oh no, the city said no. Oh, well, someone in the city said no, but not the code. Tidbits. The other thing is that, yes ma'am, no questions now, but go ahead.
But I'm just thinking, I mean, Bellwether is just newly developed, per se. And I mean, there's not, I don't think, a lot of public traffic outside of Bellwether. People, wouldn't it be cool to maybe climb that hill and get
You know, I would love to do that. And right now, there are two egress and ingress points. When Hundreds Ridge goes through, there'd be three. If what the city has proposed happens, there'll be four more. So now you've got 7 that you have to gate, and you have to secure, and you gotta maintain, and yada, yada, yada. Yes, sir.
You also have north of Steep.
Yes.
How do you do that?
No, so I understand there's ample thoughts. If you wouldn't mind, we'd like to get through the data, so you have the data, and we can have conversations. Public roads, like I said, you can, but it's extenuating circumstances. There's options and possibilities there, but that's another conversation. Interestingly enough, the Springs at Corcoran, they build gated communities. With the exception of one spot in town, they're all gated, except when they come here, the city said no. And they tried multiple times and ways to affect that, and they were shot down. So I'm not quite sure why the code says it's not a problem, but I think it's how they all have the roads planned. Back in 2010, they laid out this master plan. Well, you know, this was not zoned PUD back then. They changed the zoning of this for Bellwether so we could put in residential, slightly back for residential. And they still have all these other things on the outside that are not residential. You've got general use, mixed use. And we've got business park here, business park there, commercial here, resident apartments down there. So, moving on. We thought this was a preliminary thing, came in, stumbled across it in some of the city documents. Oh, this will be interesting. It's somewhere off in the future. And then late last week, stumbled across the fact that it was on the city council's meeting for tonight to discuss a very mature, well, not a mature plan, but a complete draft of what it's going to be, 70, 80 pages of how it's going to materialize. So it's not a little bit of effort that's gone into that, right? So we had to scramble to try and get our heads wrapped around what's going on, what's it mean, what's all the impacts. What we know about that so far is that they're projecting 500 employees on a daily basis, maybe 500 plus, because they've got 830 parking spots. So there's employees, and there's the folks who come and do business at the business park. So you've got employees plus their cars plus their customers. You also have 60 loading docks. 60 loading docks aren't for cars. They're for medium to heavy trucks to semis. And so then you project in your head, let's see, those got to come and go somehow, which means they have to use 30 and 116 and 101 to get around and into the business park. Our speculation is that that's going to complicate traffic around here. So there's that. We dug into this place called Hope Meadows, which has already started. So you could go to the west side 116, for the County Road 30 and 116, for the churches and the water tower. To the north of that are some townhomes and some villas that are going in. That's the beginning phase of a 700 plus housing development, split between residential, condos, apartments, senior living, and assisted living. There are 2 medical buildings planned. We have a lot of old folks there, so you medical buildings. We've got 2 retail buildings planned. And again, our perspective is that, let's see, you've added 700 homes. You've got a lot of businesses that generate traffic. You've got the business partners that generate traffic. You've got the Springs people and then the retail commercial on the other side. The road right now is a little busy. We've got some charts we'll show later that demonstrate where we're at and where we can expect to be in 3 to 5 years, and we'll finish that. Let's see. The other thing to note is that these comprehensive plans they put out there, they're plans. The plans happen at some point in the past, and then reality takes place, and things shift and they change. In my professional life, you had plans, and then reality happened, and you adapted, right? So our thought is that even though you had plans, it doesn't mean you can't adapt to the current state on the ground as things change. All right, what was it? There's something else. Whoa. Yep, there we go. So this is just a quick thing to point out. There's a lot of stuff going on, and it's not some distant future. It's near term, and it's going to impact us. So I won't belabor that. All right. So, I can't tell you how many hours I spent trying to make it work fancy dance with the software. Craig spent an hour in his group together with paper. Anyway, so we use his plan because it was a lot easier and quicker. This is Bellwether up here, not in a finished state. There's a lot more of this finished out, as you well know. This is Mulberry Lane. This is Hunter's Ridge, 102nd, Elm, and Cedar. Take a note that Cedar isn't actually in Bellwether. Cedar is outside the faux gates we have, right? I'm presuming that means it's not actually on Bellwether property, but I'm not certain. This is the Springs at Corcoran and the associated commercial, retail, and down here we have a daycare. Office space, retail, Mama G's, holding pond, down here by Elm, big holding pond. So what we've got to happen so far is that Continental is working this dotted line right here. It's going to put berms in up to this tree line, and we're working on a conversation to have berms up to here. But their span stops at this line right here. We'll be talking to Ebert, who owns this property, to try and get berming along this edge. And this is still the Oswell farm. This is Hempel? Yes, Hempel. They're putting in the Oswell Business Park. And we're endeavoring to try and get a berm all the way along here as well, to try and create some separation of old folks and everybody else. So there is no light planned for this intersection, and there's no budget. There's sense, and then there's funding. And you know, we've asked, and we've done Google searches, where's the funding for County Road 30 and expansion to 4 lanes, lights. The developer Continental explicitly told us when we asked, are you going to put a light there to help manage traffic so your community in and out? So he said, no, we don't need to. Turning lanes. Oh, that'll work.
Since we're on this topic, can the DOT be a friend of ours in all of this under the theme of safety?
You know, that's a good idea. Someone's got a pen, they could write that down so we don't lose track of it. This gentleman, whose name I've spaced out, Glenn, is suggesting that we go to the state DOT and go, did you want accidents and deaths here, or did you want to try and do something that's preemptive? So I think we should reach out to MnDOT, and I've talked to folks. I've talked to one lady at Hennepin County, and she was let's just say I think she was doing her gig. Not particularly a senior. So she was very helpful, but she didn't have any at least this point in my career, any pull.
I would loop in the Hennepin County Sheriff as well.
Oh, yeah, because they'll be the ones picking up.
Because you're right, you're
Parks.
and you want accidents and.
Yeah, yeah, this is not even about aesthetics, this is simply about public safety, not just our public safety, but safety in general. There's also no light called for here, where the business park empties out on the 30. And there's no light called for here, where business park opens up on 116. What the document for this specifies is right and left turn lanes. Yeah. So that's the plat of what's going to happen.
Where is the police fire station?
Sorry?
Where they said that the police fire community center was gonna be in here?
I have no knowledge of that.
What was your question?
Something about a police and fire station or something?
It's supposed to be here.
There, on 116 up here is I think it's a small station. I'm not sure what exactly
No,
it is.
the new $54 million.
Oh, that's not here. That's, I can't tell you where it's at, but I've not seen anything referred to here.
But
Well, that's,
when we went to the city engineer meeting last week and a half ago,
yeah,
this is their model for every single new development in the next 20 years. Community and mixed commercial, public, single-family housing,
Yep.
industrial, and stick-built family housing. So they're gonna have this same model for every single new development,
lucky them.
for everywhere in corporate.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be Plymouth, Crystal, inner city look, anywhere you go in corporate. So you'll have those three elements: apartment, townhomes, condos, single family,
Yep.
industrial, mixed, or I guess it's four, and mixed community, mixed use commercial.
Yeah, no, I was at that same meeting.
So
and
we're just the first phase
we're
of
the
it.
first experiment, which
Yes.
I'm not convinced is going to go particularly well.
But the city planner lady was there, and this is her, they've had this on the books for 5
Yes.
years now.
Yes, and that's,
This is not new.
no, it's not new. So none of this, to my point earlier, the 2010 plan, the comprehensive plan, called out this road grid, right? That's before any of the things that, before Bellwether. The only thing that was here back then was Mama G's. And what they laid out was this. This is a 2010 plan here, a 2020 thing. This is how it was laid out prior to any development. So the implication in my mind is when you change the zoning and you put in different things, it changes the nature of your road grid. And you might want to rethink how that's being utilized. All right, moving along. Just quick, this is the Hope Meadows plat map. Let's see, where's the church? Right here, I believe. Yeah, here's the water tower, there's the church, senior housing, active senior, that'd be us. We've got villas, townhomes, these are being built now, they're actually up there for sale. You've got a bunch of multifamily here, retail, medical, retail, multifamily housing, another another medical. So,
It's a better planned community.
well, it's a big community. I mean, these two Rowan County, these,
Explain what this is right here.
this is Hunter's Ridge. So they've got an outlet here, and they have an outlet, looks like maybe here, and you have Hunter's Ridge.
Yeah.
So you all can draw conclusions on your own. I have my thoughts, but I'll try not. So went out and got some drone footage of, my wife said, just took some pictures. We all look at it, but maybe some actual artifacts would be good. This is one, let's see, it was a Friday morning. This is the County Road 101 and 30, and it goes off the screen. It goes back to Oswald Farm, right? And when they describe what's called a level of service, and you get from A, which is it's grand, to F, which is starts massively, the people, the Stantec firm that does the engineering around the road traffic levels and how to plan that, they said that when you do the build for just Springs and Blue Meadows, you will hit a level of service of F here. And they recommend that you put in turn signal turns, right? But the county and the city, that's fine. But this is the game right now, and one of the descriptions around the failed level of service is the light turns and starts to do this wave behavior. And I sat with my drone and watched the wave behavior. Wow, they're not wrong. Okay, here's the other perspective. This is County Road 30, past 101. There's that Troy intersection back there someplace, and around the corner is the new Lawndale thing, or whatever that is, where County Road 30 intersects with Rush Creek. So you can see that here's the current state. Okay. Keep that in mind. Oh, land froze. Well, it's unfortunate. Let's see if we can get it to, nope. It's insisting that we say that. Oh, crap.
If people are reading the notice about the petition,
Sorry.
if you signed up last time, the first meeting, you don't need to re-sign up.
We'll go to your next slide.
So if you're, for people that hadn't been here last time, you have to do this. And we're not forcing anybody to do this. Whatever you'd like to do.
Try and escape.
Yeah. Let's try. It's like the screen is stuck on. My laptop is not. Sorry about that. Oh. You're kidding me? It's just still not. Reminds me when I was working, I would do live software demos, and running along, and it would crash. That sucks. We got enough of it. Well, that is. All right, well, tell you what. I mean, I have to, but I don't have this on the, really, those with the laptop. All right, tell you what, I'm just going to talk about this. So, what you could see if this was working is a graph. And on the far left-hand side of the graph is the current amount of traffic that we're seeing across all these three roads, kind of aggregated together, right? And what we're doing is using a traffic analysis from the city and the developers engineering team called Stantec. We're using the models and the information that comes from the county, the traffic assessments in terms of what the traffic level is, and we plugged it in and said, well, we're here today. If what's being proposed comes to fruition, we'll go from just around 16,000 total cars around our little box to pushing 40,000 cars in 3 to 5 years. So that's pretty grand. Then using the same set of data, this is not data we made up, this is just the city's data and the county's data. Right now, with us not being plugged, we've got Ski and we've got 101, we're not being plugged with anything else. We've got 200-300 cars a day, household guys wandering around, coming into and out of the community. If they do as they say they're going to do, open up all the roads and do the improvements that they're not going to do. But if they would, we will see in 3 to 5 years about 1,500 to 2,000 cars coming through on a daily basis across all those 4 roads. That's 3 times our current level, okay? Now, if they don't do any road improvements, if they leave everything as it is now, they don't put any lights that aren't budgeted and aren't required on any of those intersections, the traffic in Bellwether will go from the 200 to 300 range to 2,500 to 3,000 cars a day.
How are we getting to how much of the area traffic we think is going to come through Bellwether?
So this is they've got projections, they've got rates of increase, and we simply plug that into
Well, I can
generator
see
graph.
that on like 116 and on 30 and on 101, but
Right.
what makes us think that they're going to be coming through the neighborhood?
So this is a presumption, and we run it through these engines that we're working with. And I reflect on my own behavior. If I'm going to work, if I'm going someplace, and I'm in a spot where I want to get onto a road, and the traffic is backed up and I can't, my natural inclination is to find some place to go instead, to route myself around that. We've all used Google Maps.
Well, but I think there are a lot of us too who are stuck in a line of traffic, waiting to get through a light or something. And yeah, we could maybe try to veer off into some neighborhood and wind our way around, but because a lot of us would never do that, just
Well,
don't do that.
A lot of us might not do that. So these are people who are busy, they gotta be to meetings, they go to work, you get their kids dropped off. So you're not incorrect. I mean, to be clear, Pam, what's your name? Pam. Pam's point is that everyone's not gonna run amok and not use these roads, the county roads. And we're not saying that everyone is gonna run amok. We're saying that some percentage. And if you have 10% of 30,000 cars decide not to use the roads that are obstructed, it doesn't take a lot of people when you have a high number of traffic. It's just a math.
Can I add on to her? My name is Frankie.
Yes, Frankie.
Not the other Frankie, but me, Frankie, there's 2 of us.
Got it.
To add on to hers is that, because even if people do decide that, oh, I'm gonna try going through this residential neighborhood with the 30 allegedly 20 miles an hour speed limit, because it's posted on Google Maps as 30. And we have no way of enforcing a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit.
We do not.
But all of our roads will lead into the roads of the long lines of traffic that they've already got on, so they'll be stuck anyhow. So, and the straight line is the shortest route. So, therefore, people will sooner or later learn that cutting through Bellwether is fins falling. To some point, yes, we will still get people who cut through, but they are gonna learn that their roads are nowhere now.
It's a function of percentage. So what the Santec people have said, well,
Exactly, it's
right.
how much percentage. It's not
Exactly.
gonna be this 120,000 people coming through Bellwether.
no one said that. But we're saying,
That sounded like-
no. I want to be abundantly clear.
So bottom line would be to me what you think the percentage is that's gonna come through Bellwether.
The Samtec people projected 2 to 3% on 2 of the roads. They didn't put percentages on the other roads. So-
On which two roads?
102nd and L, which leaves Mulberry Lane, which they were not reliant, that study didn't take into consideration business park. And that study hasn't been done yet.
Okay.
So you got 2, 3, 3, 3, they added Cedar, and people were wondering, that's the far end. So you've got Elm, 102nd, and Mulberry Lane. Each of those is this is their projections.
4 roads,
4 roads at 3%,
which is how many cars?
that's 12%, okay? 12% of the cars that are gonna be coming in and out of this entire development. So hang on, you've got 500 plus residents, you've got 6, 7, 8 buildings in the commercial retail daycare. You've got,
The daycare wouldn't be coming in here at all. It's
Just to help you here, we only have a few minutes to go, so continue with where you were.
right, so, I mean, I think from the thing we wanted to share, and we can debate, obviously, what percentage is gonna flow through the community. I think the net is that it's more than we have today, and I'm pretty sure more than we have today. No one is saying the entire southern border is gonna be inundated with all the traffic that would otherwise use those roads. We're suggesting that, based on the projections that we've gone through, based on the assessments from the engineering firms that have looked at this, we will see a significant increase in traffic, which is a cause for security concerns and safety concerns.
And these firms, these engineering firms that do traffic studies, the software that they use, they're not just taking a stab at what percentage will go this way or that way. It's based on actual measured traffic counts. So they've measured traffic in similar situations. So they know the pattern is when it gets us backed up on this main road, this percentage are typically going to look for an alternative. So this isn't us guessing at it.
No.
This isn't Stan Tech or the county guessing at it. I mean, it's measured. It's not going to tell you the exact number of cars, but it's going to give you a pretty accurate prediction.
I mean, this is, again, I want to stress, this is not the committee's data. This is the city's, the county's data, and the engineering teams they've hired to assess this. We're simply making certain that all of you have that data and the implication behind that data so that you can draw your own conclusions. You can believe people will come through or not, but we want to make sure you have the data so that you don't wake up and go, why can't I get out of my driveway? Or why can't I get out of the community in a way that I want to? All right, I'm not sure what's going to solve with this, but, so, that is the data we wanted to share. Guys, did I miss anything?
Can you summarize what this group of your committee is, what the goals are, what is the ultimate achievement, what are we trying to?
So, our committee,
What are we accepting or what?
right, so the goal we have is to become cognizant and aware of all the things going on our borders. What are the activities, what are the developments that would impact our way of life, our security, our safety, and our investment in the 55 plus community. Bring that data to our community so that everyone's completely informed about the facts, so they go, oh, I'm fine with that, or I'm not fine with that. And either way, you have the option to act on that how you see fit.
Right.
What we're doing in the committee is saying, if you find these findings to be concerning, and you agree that we would like to have something done to mitigate the impact of these developments and the traffic flow to our security and safety and investments, et cetera, go ahead and sign a petition, and we will take that as a committee to the council, the planning session, the planning commission, and to the city council, and go, this number of residents inside of Bellwether have these concerns and are hoping that you will address them to make sure you mitigate the impact to them. That's, we don't have any political agenda, we're solely focused on us.
So it's like traffic and whatever it is we just talked about here.
Yeah.
Do we as a group have any,
Pardon me?
do we as a group have any influence?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So what I'm gonna say is that if you agree with the petition and you sign it, that is one form of input. If you don't agree with the petition, that's a second form of input. If you don't agree, then you are welcome to do whatever you want with the data we provide.
But I mean, do we have influence to change the city's mind or what they will approve or not approve?
Well, our goal is to point out to the city that the current plans they have in place are gonna have these impacts to the community.
Do you think there was, I mean, will they be, will they be receptive?
So the city takes any the city has to take public input.
Yeah.
The city is not a hearing, well, it's not a hearing, but the city is this is democracy at work, right? We all have a voice, and quite frankly, the Bellwether percentage of the current voting population in corporate, about 18 to 20%. So at the moment, our community can have a voice in how Corcoran evolves. And quite frankly, that's how every community happens. Communities say, let's go do X. And things happen at the city offices and people show up and go, well, I like X, let's do X, or we don't like X, or this not, or that not. And they listen, they decide to do or not do that. So our goal as a committee is to bring data to the community, to share the perspectives we as a committee in talking amongst ourselves and our neighbors across the community have come to a conclusion that these things are concerning, and we'd like the city council and the planning commission to address them in a way that doesn't stop development, but makes certain development doesn't bleed onto us in a way that negatively impacts these concerns. Does that help?
Yes, I'm glad to hear all that.
Okay. Does that clarify things for folks? Yeah. Okay. Yes, sir.
I have a concern about the road that you're talking about. I live on the last house on Elm, I live right by the cornfield there.
Okay.
That would be the holding pond area. And
Yep.
for me, personally, I don't want to burn there.
Okay.
The main thing is, who's gonna maintain our side of that burn?
That would be on the HOA, I would imagine.
On our HOA?
Well, if it's on our property, so the burning we talked about with Continental is not on Bellwether property, it's on their property, so therefore they're responsible for it. To your concern though, we are asking them about burning that, because there's some folks on that do want to burn. But they said they got a holding pond, so it's far from concluded what will actually transpire. But again, you all have your voices, you all have your perspectives, and you can all voice them however you like and express that and seek to have that action taken to whatever degree you want.
Ken, I want to mention that the developer that ties in with Mama G's and the developer that would do the business park on the other side by 116, legally with Corcoran, in the designs and the landscaping stuff, there are guidelines that Corcoran has that you have to put this stuff in. So just so you're aware, we're just trying to make sure that the lighting that comes towards Bellwood, different things, that doesn't affect our quality of life.
Wonderful thing to do. But can I just say one more thing and then I'm done? When I worked in DC for a very long time, I've learned one very important thing. Well, besides this, some of the things y'all are talking about are very expensive to the HOA. But should and do are two very different things. They should put it and maintain it if it's on the
Completely
property.
understand.
It's two very different things. And
I
what
don't think
these
any of us are
berms-
naive
what
about
berms gonna
that.
be made of is my last question.
I'm sorry?
What are these berms gonna be made of? Dirt?
Dirt.
Not gonna last unless there's plantings on top.
Oh, there's definitely plantings. So the plantings, grass, trees, it's just not a pile of dirt. You know, it's designed to be aesthetically pleasing, I say. So we have a couple minutes, so those of us in the committee want to skedaddle over to the city hall. We would ask if any of you would care to stay back and help put away some chairs, that'd be grand. If not, that's fine. Any final questions? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you and your group for all of you.
We all live here, so we're doing it for the community and ourselves. But thank you.
So just to be clear, the meeting that you're going to present this to corporate, they keep on canceling the meeting?
Yep. I'm sorry, say again?
The meeting that you're going to propose, and talk to corporate, they keep on postponing this meeting?
Yes, what about?
They keep on postponing, so there's not another date set?
We do not have a final, so there's two meetings. There's the planning session meeting, which will be coming up. That has gotten postponed now twice, and we think it might be in August, but we don't have a date yet. And we do not know when the city council will review the planning sessions, the planning commission's conclusions, and vote on that. August, September, don't know.
Just so you know that Continental's been great to work with. And that's the Springs of Corcoran. They've been wonderful. We've had Zoom calls. They've been very receptive. So it's a great partnership, making sure this all works together, that we can blend our neighborhoods, and it's a great outcome. The other thing is that there was a misconception about the last time we had a meeting. We're not trying to limit people to drive through here. We're not trying to limit people to walk through our walking paths. We're not trying to limit people that they can't bike. We're gonna have a city park. That's gonna be built and stuff like that. We're just trying to ensure the safety of all of you.
Right.
Our roads aren't very wide. And the worst thing I would like to see happen is that business park. They can't get out on 116, they can't get out on 30. The semi truck comes to our neighborhood. I don't think we want semi trucks coming through. And we're just trying to bring this stuff up. A lot of people might say, well, I don't think that's gonna happen. We're just trying to highlight these things just to make sure the city's thinking about it. We can't control what happens on the road.
But yes, sir, you had your hand up before I close on.
Just
Hang on.
wanted to ask whether or not your presentation was available.
For small people.
That's all I have.
Excellent, well, that'll be like 200-300K. We'll work with that.
Yeah.
We will see about making it available. The problem is it's a big fat file and it doesn't email. So that becomes challenging. Yes, ma'am.
Put it on the Engage app, the file.
You can, yes, thank you. Yep, we could do that. All right, any last questions? Yes, Julie.
When you're at all the meetings, because of all this traffic and people redirecting, have they ever brought up, because I know that Steve is gonna eventually be a Blue Street, it's gonna go straight over 101 and down by the school, have they ever mentioned when they're working on that, this scares the shit out of me. Let's make a program.
They make will grow. Yeah, we don't,
Okay.
if you go to the corporate website and you look at, they've got a page somewhere that says, here's all the things we're doing. Dozens and dozens and dozens of things. We're just trying to stay on top of the things in our immediate surrounding areas. Not that there are other things that aren't potentially concerning to us, there are. But,
Well,
you know,
Steve
day
is
job,
doing
right?
so busy right now to make it even busier, because like I've asked them, it's 45 miles an hour down that road, even with that crosswalk.
Yeah.
And they're not gonna change the speed limit, because it's a through street, and it's gonna go across 101 and straight into Maple Grove.
Just so you know, it's not just, the traffic isn't just the people in Springs, the people in the business park, the people in Oak Meadows. The traffic is what's flowing off of 610 on 30. The traffic is what's flowing off of Dayton Parkway onto 101. The traffic is what's coming out of Rogers down 116, that's 155, 116. So if you step back and keep looking at the macro, keep unwinding that, you go, wow, we're kind of at the epicenter of a lot of traffic. That's just going to have consequences. Yes, sir.
I got one quick question. The commercial park, do they have a developer from that? You would build that, or is that just a concept?
Right now, it's a placeholder. we thought that.
The one on the east
whole-
side. The east side.
The east side, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the east side, so by Mama G's, the east side of that commercial park we're talking about, that is a placeholder. They don't have tenants yet, and so that's not yet decided what's gonna go in.
Anything good, not just a picture.
Yes, that's what they're projecting, but,
And that's Ebert.
Ebert in conjunction with Continental. We thought that the whole thing was, down the road too, and now it's next spring they want to break ground. Yes, ma'am?
You might be too early in the process, but would it be worth considering retaining a land use attorney?
That thought crossed my mind immediately, and then I looked at my piggy bank and I'm going, I mean, communities do in fact go out and get attorneys to deal with things. And there was somebody that Pam and I were talking to who lived in another community here in the metro, and they're gonna put through all these highlights, the big power towers. And they got the community together, they picked up some cash, they got an attorney, and the lines didn't go through. So what happens in our reality right now today is to some degree under our control. We vote. Old folks don't vote. And we have a significant vote. If there are those of us who feel this is not helpful, well, we can vote that way. If there are those who are indifferent, then they don't vote. If there are folks who think it should happen, well, they can vote that way. But let's not be confused. Life just doesn't happen because you have no options. Usually, sometimes. But we do have options. Yes, last question.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, what is the feedback from the city council members?
So the city council members, the two we've talked to, are supportive enough to give us time in front of the city council. And they were both, one versus the other, were very supportive about doing something to mitigate the impact.
Can you tell me which two it was? That you've spoken to?
That's top secret, I'm sorry. We've talked to Mark and we've talked to Michelle. There's only the four.
Yes, I understand.
There's Mark, Michelle, Dean, and Jeremy.
If you think about it, they spent ample time with us. They went to each road location of the potential traffic, inbound, outbound, stuff like that. So they were very, very nice and have responded to every email we've sent and stuff like that. So just so you're aware.
Yeah, that's great.
They were interested. They wanted to understand everything. None of them gave us a blank check signed, but
The key is just to get their attention so we can bring our concerns to the council, and then the council will do one thing or the other. We don't have control of that.
I was just going to say, for the people who are maybe newer to the community, the Oswald group were here last year or the year before and made a presentation here at Bellwether about their proposal. So they were kind of looking for community input even way back then.
Good.
And the water tower is maybe another example of the water tower was originally supposed to be in Bellwether. It was supposed to be in the park at Bellwether. And there was conversation about it. It got moved over to what we think is a more appropriate location. Some of the people that are newer to the community may not know that.
Well, to Pam's point, again, we have a voice, and we exercise that voice. It's up to us to decide to do that or not. To whatever degree, whatever direction you want to go. We need to cut it short, folks. Thank you so much for your time. Again, if you want to sign a petition, thank you.